All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to become a millionaire in 2026 with AI. We scaled Popple, a B2B AI SaaS company, from 1 million ARR to 3 million ARR in 4 months with this exact system that I'm going to show you in a second. Now they're doing $1 million plus in MRR. Another example is Hyros. Alex Becker scaled to 100 million plus valuation in 4 years doing exactly this. The guys at Lesiuk are crushing it right now doing this. And we're going to go through that fully funnel hacked, and we're going to dive in exactly how they're doing. Now they're doing $1 million plus MRR. And the secret is an hourglass funnel. And we're going to dive into what that is in a second. But before I do, I quickly want to go through something called a growth ceiling. Every single business, doesn't matter if you're a SaaS company, an AI company, whatever you're running, every single business has a growth ceiling. And this is typically where you've reached a number where you're not bringing on as much new customers compared to how many customers are churning, and that is your growth plateau. There's a few ways to escape this, and we're going to go through an example here of a business. You start at 500 customers, number of starting customers, then number of new customers added per month is 60. Your average revenue per account is $100.50, and your monthly churn is 10%. So that means currently you're doing $75,000 in MRR. However, you may be at 75,000 thinking, wow, like I have a great business and all, and you do. However, your growth ceiling is $90,000 in MRR, which is not too far away. That's $15,000 in MRR away, which if we take 90 over 75 minus 1, that's 20% growth. So your business can only grow 20% from where you're at now before you hit your plateau, and you cannot mathematically grow more than that. Okay, so time to hit your growth ceiling is 27 months, and that is January in 2028. Now, if you take an average ARR multiple of 3x, that brings your enterprise value estimate to about $3 million at your growth ceiling. So mathematically, depending on the valuation, of course, but like I said, mathematically, you cannot grow more than 90,000 in MRR. So you're kind of capped at a $3 million enterprise value. Okay, and we have a chart here that visualizes this. You're at 75,000, and you're really only adding on just like 10 customers in month 1, 9 in month 2, 8, and then it just goes down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 until you basically stall out at around this point where you see like you're growing by 1 customer, and then it really just plateaus. Like you'll see 596, 596. It's repeated here, 595, 595, 594, 594. It starts like repeating. So there's months where you're just not growing at all, and that's your plateau, and that's what it looks like here. Yeah, you're still adding on like what, $100 in MRR, but like you've literally hit your plateau. You're growing fine until about this point, like month 11, but then after that it starts to flatten out. So okay, that's your plateau, that's your growth ceiling. And the way to calculate that, by the way, guys, is you take your number of new customers added per month, you multiply it by your average revenue per account. This could be your average revenue per user. Okay, depends on what business you're running. Like if you're just running a straight SaaS, B2B SaaS company, and you're using something like ChartMogul for your data, you literally have that number pulled directly from your payment processing account. Okay, and you just divide it by your monthly churn. Okay, so that's how to calculate that. Now let's just copy this over. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this real quick because that is the problem. Now the solution to this is only 3 things. Either you acquire more customers every single month, either you increase your average revenue per account, or you decrease your churn. And contrary to popular belief, I'm going to show you which lever actually has the most impact. Okay, so most people think if I just get more customers, I'm just going to grow the business. Okay, well, that's not entirely true, because let's say we do 70 new customers this month, which is a 16.6% growth rate month over month, which is not easy, by the way. But let's say you grow your business by 16% at this scale. and now you're just adding on 70 every month. Well, you've really only pushed your growth rate, your growth ceiling from 90,000 to 105,000. But if we look at the time to hit the growth ceiling, now you're at 32 months compared to 27 months away, which is really only 5 months of difference between the first situation here and the second one here. So you've really only bought yourself 5 months worth of time. Okay, now if I go back to 60 here and say, okay, well, let's say we keep the number of new customers added per month the same, but the customers are more valuable. So $175 average revenue per account. Well, check this out. This is really interesting, and not many people understand this until we dive into the numbers, just like I'm doing with you here. Well, your MRR growth ceiling increases a bit, yes. However, look at the time to hit the growth ceiling. It stays exactly the same. And you might be wondering, well, how if my customers are now more valuable? And the simple answer is because it doesn't matter how valuable the customer is if you're still growing and churning at the same rate, which leads me to my next point. Okay, if we go back to what that was, if we mess with the churn just a little bit and we reduce it, let's say, I mean, something fantastic would be like if we cut churn by half down to 5%, but even if we cut churn down to 7%, well, now look at this. You've doubled the time to hit your growth ceiling. And this lever has the biggest impact if you're running a B2B SaaS, an AI SaaS company, any sort of AI company, right? So now you're at 52 months until you hit your growth ceiling compared to 27 months. I mean, you've literally like doubled your time to hit your growth ceiling, and your MRR, your actual MRR growth ceiling, that has the largest impact on it as well. Okay, now what happens if we, of course, add new customers, reduce our churn, and increase our average revenue per account? Well, if you have all three of these numbers in play, I mean, this is the ideal situation. And now look at this chart. You have this big time to hit your actual plateau, which around like month 22, it starts flattening out, but then it flattens out at 173,000 an MRR compared to if you're just at 90,000. And what we really did is not, I mean, yeah, we made some changes to the churn, but it's not like a massive difference. I mean, we took it from 10% to 7. We increased the average revenue per account to 175 from 150, and we're just bringing on 10 more customers every month. And at a business doing $75,000 in MRR, you do have the resources to invest in pulling one of these three levers. Now, what we call this is the hourglass funnel. Okay, so most companies, compared to SaaS companies or AI companies, they operate with one goal in mind, being the conversion. Okay, and so you look at like a lemonade stand, for example. Okay, or you look at like a car dealership. Like their success is made, like they have achieved their goal when they just get the sale, and that's it. Okay, but that's not how SaaS companies operate. That's not how AI companies operate. You hitting your conversion goal is just the first step. Okay, after that, you have retention, with the ultimate goal being expansion. And that is ultimately the three levers that you pull on, just like we went through here. Number 1, acquisition. Number 2 is your expansion. And then number 3 is your retention, exactly like we went through here, right? So that is kind of how you want to look at it. And this is what we call the hourglass funnel, because we're not just focusing on increasing acquisition, because we saw in that first example, it doesn't really have that big of an effect on your growth ceiling. What has the biggest effect is everything after that, is actually retaining your customers for longer while making them more valuable. And of course, yes, acquisition is important as well. So you want to have all three in place. And not many companies are looking at it this way. So if you really want to make millions of dollars with AI, you're building an AI SaaS company, you're building a B2B SaaS company. Okay, this is how you want to start looking at your business. And if you're not looking at it this way, well, now hopefully you should. And I'm going to show you exactly how to look at these three levers in more detail. So getting more customers, what is the most efficient way of, number 1, getting more customers, keeping them longer, and then making them more valuable. That's essentially what acquisition, retention, and expansion is. Okay, so what we do is we start with expansion. We work backwards. We reverse engineer it. So first we ask the question, what has the most effect on your expansion? Is professional services, pricing adjustments, and pricing structure. So basically just how much are you charging for the thing, whatever you're selling. And there's a few ways that you can manipulate the price. How do we manipulate the price? Well, most SaaS companies think that they can just charge $50 a month, $100 a month, and then let's run paid ads because it's the most scalable channel, and let's see how it goes. And then maybe they acquire a customer, but they don't break even until month 8. Well, do you really want to be waiting 8 months just to break even and spending like $800 to acquire a customer, and you break even on your $800 8 months from now? It can work. That's how most SaaS companies look at it in terms of customer acquisition, but that's not the most efficient way. I'm going to show you what is the most efficient way. And we look at the funnel in more details. Okay. And we call this the VSL funnel, where we package a high ticket front end offer specifically built for cold traffic with a higher ticket price, starting at $2,000, $3,000. And that way, you add on a professional service, something like a done for you, or like a onboarding or migration, because chances are you're already doing this for free for your customers just so they can use your SaaS. But that doesn't make any sense because someone is paying for that. And if it's free, if the customer isn't paying for it, you're paying for it, because either you're paying for it with your time or you're paying someone on your team to do it for them. So that doesn't really make any sense, because ultimately the only thing that your customer cares about is going from point A to point B, is actually achieving some sort of transformation, some sort of result with your product. Chances are most SaaS products only solve one piece of the bridge, only one piece of the transformation. So what you can do is map out the entire transformation and then look at it and say, can I create some sort of done for you service that includes my SaaS in it? But ultimately, I can create some sort of done for you service where I can take the customer from point A to point B, get them their desired results so they're actually more happier, and then on the back end, sell them my SaaS so we retain them that way. And so this covers all three levers perfectly. Acquisition, because now you're profitably acquiring customers. Instead of acquiring a new customer for $50 or $100, they're paying you $3,000 up front for some sort of done for you service implementation. And then if we look at the next lever, which is retention, well, now they're happier, so they're going to stay longer because they're actually getting their desired result. Chances are they're getting it even faster now that you're doing it for them. And then also, of course, they're using your SaaS on the back end, which is what you're selling on the back end. So will they stay longer? Yes. And then the last one is expansion, which really is self-explanatory. If you increase your pricing, you kind of manipulate the pricing with the adjustment there, with the professional service that you're adding on, then yes, you are making your customers more valuable. And so the way we want to look at this is, once you have a high ticket offer built specifically for cold traffic, see, that's the hard part, is actually building it for cold traffic, because you're going to be running ads to this. Not everything that works on warm traffic is going to work for cold traffic, but if you crack the code on this, then the best way is a direct VSL. Okay, so you want to run direct ads, and here's an example from Lesiuk, and they're actually doing this very, very well. So they're doing a done-for-you cold email build-out. Now, Lesiuk is basically an Apollo competitor, so they are a data provider. So you sign up and you get like verified emails, right? So that's their product. And they realize the same thing that I'm telling you now, is their customers just want the end goal of having this cold email system built out for them. Data is only one part of it. They still have to set up the email accounts, still have to set up the sequences and actually send the thing. So ultimately they just start getting positive replies and then close more deals. So what Lesiuk is running is the entire thing as a service. Done for you cold email build out. I believe they're charging like $2,000 for this to install it, and then they're selling Lesiuk on the back end. That's kind of how it works. So that's the ad. You click the ad and you get brought into this opt-in page where you put in your name, number, and email to opt into the training video and to get more information on the offer. And so you go through the opt-in page. Here's the VSL page, quick little video that explains it. Then you book in a call, brought into an application to further qualify yourself, and then into the booking page where you actually book your consult. And now after that, you book your call, you get brought to this thank you page, which is a great, it outlines the next steps. And it's a great way to, number one, increase your show up rates. Then also, number two, handle objections with these FAQ common questions, where they have a video for each objection that they typically get on sales calls. And so when the customer goes through this entire sales process and they show up to that call, I mean, they're basically sold on the damn thing and they just want to buy. And what are they buying? They're buying a $2,000 product. So let's say your closing rate, and we have an example here. Let's say you spend $5,000 on ads. Typically, you'll get about 2,500 clicks at about like a $2 cost per click. Could be a lot more, could be less. You'll get about 500 opt-ins at $10 cost per lead. These are just rough numbers. You'll get about 25 demos from that for about $200 cost per book call. And then if you close about 5 customers at $1,000 cost to acquire that customer, but you're selling a $2,000 offer price, you're getting a 2x return on ad spend. So you're profitable within that 30-day time frame. In that first month, you're profitable 2x return on ad spend. Now, let's say you're selling a $500 per month SaaS subscription on the back end with a $5,000 LTV. I mean, you're adding the $2,000 ticket price to the $5,000 LTV. That's a 7x LTV over CAC that this customer has, compared to most SaaS companies that think, I'm going to run ads to my $50 per month product. They're literally running their ads at probably less than like a 1x LTV over CAC. And in this space, hitting a 3x LTV over CAC is golden. But of course, anything more than that is fantastic. So we literally engineer this type of growth with this kind of funnel. And I walk through it here in more detail. You can kind of see like the average opt-in rate, average demo booking rate, average closing rate, average customer success rate. And within each of these steps, you have these contingencies. So you have retargeting ads, you have email follow-ups because they opt in, they give you their email. So we put them in a 15-step email nurturing sequence. And then after they become a customer, all we do is they enter retention and expansion flows, which are anywhere from 9 to like 18, depending on like how complex your SaaS is. We build out these flows specific to your customer journey. And these are like churn prevention flows, upsell flows, and trial activation flows, these kind of different flows. And that runs on autopilot, and that increases your retention and expansion as well. Okay. Now, once you have a new happy customer from this, you basically just collect the new case study for ads and VSL, and you just plug it back in the beginning and make this process more and more efficient. And the ultimate goal is to get your cost per qualified book call as low as possible, because then if you have a good sales team, or even just closing at 20%, anywhere from 20, 25%, you're going to be acquiring customers for like $400, $500, even $1,000. Let's say a worst case scenario. If you're selling like a $3,000, $5,000 thing like Hyros or ListKit, or these SaaS companies that get it, or like something we did with Popple, I mean, we were at a point where we were spending $73,000 per month on ads, and we scaled them to $256K in MRR with that, with a 3.5x LTV over CAC in the first month alone. Okay. And here's kind of like more information on this. Very brief, like I kind of shared an example with you, but you spend $5,000 on ads. Let's say your CPM on Meta is like 70. That means you're getting 71,000 impressions. If you take a click-through rate, about an average simulation, so 1.1%, you're getting 786 unique clicks. That's $6 cost per click. This is kind of like average, but more on the, this is like more of like a bad situation. That's a high cost per click depending on what niche you're in, but typically 25% will opt in. You get about 200 opt-ins. So that's $25 cost per opt-in. And let's say we're running, so you get a setter actually dialing the leads coming through. So that's also going to improve it. So as soon as people come through, you just dial them, and that's going to improve you're going to get like 17 book calls from the opt-ins this way. Now application rate 3%. So actually converting them into the applications, you're going to be getting about 24 applications. And from there, the book call rate is about 60%. So that's total self book calls from the funnel is 14. But then we add on another 16 with or 17 rather, with the setter dialing. So you come to a total book calls of 31, and your cost per call blended with setters is about 159, but your cost per call without the setters is 354. So literally just having a setter dial the opt-ins as soon as they come into your funnel, that cuts your cost per book call by half, which is insane. I mean, so many people overlook this part as well. But anyways, your show up rate, let's say 70% show up to the call. That means you actually have 22 live calls. So your cost per live call is about $227. You close them at 25%. And that is, let's say, with an average offer price of $3,000, you close $16,500 from the $5,000 spent on ads. That's a 3.3x cost, 3.3x return on your ad spend. Okay, so that is kind of the call funnel with the opt-in, the application. That's kind of the projection here. Okay, so in a nutshell, that's basically what you should be running for your SaaS. If you want to make millions in 2026, over the next 12, 18 months, if you don't have something like this set up in your AI company, in your SaaS company, your B2B SaaS company, you need to do it. And I don't care if you want to figure it out yourself and spend thousands of dollars to figure it out, it's still going to be way more valuable than you not doing this, because it's the only way to survive. I mean, if we look at cost to acquire customers, it's just increasing over time. I think it's like growing faster than inflation. There is literally an inflation on cost to acquire a customer with paid ads. So if you're not manipulating your pricing somehow, like we kind of discussed here, if you're not trying to reverse engineer this kind of hourglass funnel, then you're just going to get outbid by your competitors that are doing this, that can spend more on ads. And I'm just going to circle back to all of this with the simple fact that if you do have your acquisition, your retention, your expansion dialed in, you're going to get a lot higher valuation than just a simple 3x, because this is what investors and buyers actually look at when it comes to exiting your SaaS company, your AI company. And this is going to be valued closer to like a 6x or a 7x, to be honest with you. So a business at this scale is worth on average like 14, anywhere from, let's say, 10 to even higher, $15 million. But sure, we can call it $14 million once you have these metrics running. Okay, and we compare that to the first example of $3 million with the lower multiple. Guys, that is over $10 million difference. That's a $10 million delta in enterprise value, which is insane. All by what? Reducing the monthly churn a bit, increasing the average revenue per account, and increasing your customer acquisition. I mean, these aren't like insane changes either. So that goes to show the leverage of the hourglass funnel and what that has directly, how that affects your enterprise value when it comes time to either exit your business or raise money for your business. So that's all I have for you. I hope this was valuable. I really have nothing to sell you. I mean, we don't work with beginners, but if you are an AI company or a B2B SaaS company and you're already doing like $20,000 plus in MRR and you just need help installing this hourglass funnel into your business, you can comment down below. You can actually just book a call in the description at learnsaas.com. That's what my company helps B2B SaaS companies install in their business. So if that's you, book a call. But other than that, I mean, I hope this was valuable, and whether or not you decide to work with us, if you're a good fit or not, just try to install this in your own business yourself, because this is the most valuable thing, and it's what's actually going to make you millions of dollars with AI in 2026 in the next 12 to 18 months. So that's all I got for you. Thanks a lot for watching, and leave a like and subscribe, because I got a lot more videos coming, and leave a comment below what you enjoyed the most and what I should make a video on next. Peace out.